Alright, it's time to start laying up the skin coat. The gel coat is tacky, but again, it's not coming off on my finger when I touch it, so that's perfect. Now, the skin coat is the first layer of fiberglass against the gel coat, and it's important to make sure that you get this done within a couple hours of the gel coat being painted onto the plug surface, so that it creates a nice good chemical bond and supports the gel coat through the rest of its cure. So I've got this general purpose polyester resin I'm going to be using here. I've shaken it up well already, so let's weigh it out, and I'm going to catalyze it or initiate it to about 1.5 to 2%. And I'm going to use probably about 150 to 200 grams of this resin. If I need more, I can definitely make some more. I'm about at the end of this can, so I'll just use the rest of it. Alright, let's put in the initiator. So I'm going to try to get this to about 160 grams. I've got about 158 grams of resin in here right now, so about 2 grams of initiator should be a decent amount. Okay, fine, good. 161 grams. Alright, let's stir this up. Now it starts out as a nice pink color, this particular resin I'm using, and then as you stir the hardener or initiator into it, it turns a little bit more brown, or tan, I guess. Make sure you scrape the sides of the container, get the bottom. I'm going to stir it for about a minute or so until you're confident that it's completely and thoroughly mixed. Should be good, and that's kind of more of a brownish color rather than a pinkish color. Alright, so I'm going to use gloves for this step because I may have to touch the fiberglass, the wet fiberglass. They go. I don't want any of that on my hands. And the first step is to wet out the surface on top of the gel coat. I mean, don't go crazy, but it helps if the underneath surface is a little bit wet to help wet out the resin. Once you get this skin coat down, you can let it completely cure. But the skin coat is definitely the most important because it supports that gel coat. And you want a nice chemical bond between the gel coat and the resin that wets out the skin coat. And you want to make sure that there's no air pockets between the fiberglass and the gel coat because you want full support. show you how to do that in a minute here. Okay, the surface is completely coated with resin. Lay the fiberglass down real quick. I always cut my fiberglass a little bit big so that I know I've got enough space to cover my surface. Now to start weighing out the fiberglass, all you have to do is start painting the resin onto it. Some people will pour the resin on, but I feel like that's hard to control, so I like to just use nice even brush strokes. And it'll take a minute for the fiberglass to become that opaque color. So I think it's going to be the perfect amount of resin, which I'm glad because this is the last I had at the house right now. I need to go get some more at the store tomorrow so I can continue on with the build-up plies. It's good to wet out the fiberglass further than you want the mold to be, because you want to make sure you've got a good quality laminate beyond where you're going to be cutting on the trim line of the mold. Got a little teeny bit left, I'll save that just in case I need it. Now it's time to use the most important tool. You want to work any of the white opaque areas out from the center towards the edges. This consolidates the fiberglass and removes any air in between the fiberglass and the gelcoat. See, it kind of goes from a bubbly texture or color to a nice consistent orange or whatever your gel coat color is as you roll over it. If you have any compound curvature or concave curves, you can also get rollers that have a kind of a dome or curve shape to them so that they fit onto those surfaces better. But a roller like this is perfect for something that's not compound. And if you have any very tight radiuses, you can get a barrel diameter that's much smaller than that to fit into the radius. Okay, I'm extremely happy with the outcome of that skin coat. I'm going to let this cure up until at least tomorrow night if I can get to it. At this point, all I have to do is let it cure. I'm not in any rush to put the build-up plies on, but when I do that, it'll be just the same process as this, and I'll show you a few of those as I go through them. Alright? I wanted to give you a quick close-up of how this skin coat looks. You can see there's no air bubbles in there at all. You can see the texture of the fiberglass, but it looks like a uniform color. And there might be a little bit too much resin in some of these spots, but for the most part it looks pretty good. If you do have too much resin, you can always use the brush to kind of sponge up those areas and move that resin to a dry area in the laminate, or just put it back in the cup. Right.